Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to be here with you today as we explore a topic that is especially timely and relevant for this time of year and the holiday season. And we're going to explore creating a holiday season that is in alignment with your values so that you can feel grounded and have an experience that's actually meaningful to you uniquely rather than getting caught up in the things that you think you should be getting caught up in. So, the holiday season is often filled with expectations and obligations and overall busyness. And we can find ourselves feeling pulled in so many directions, trying to meet others' expectations, the expectations that we think that they have. We do all of the overs, like I call them, the overcommitting, the overspending, the overeating, the overdoing everything. And then ultimately, we feel really disconnected from ourselves and what truly matters. And we find ourselves feeling unfulfilled and missing out on the true meaning and magic of this winter time, this late autumn transition into winter time, and the true essence of the holidays. So, my invitation to you is to see if this year can be different. How much more in alignment with your values and yourself can you be? That's what we're going to explore. What if you could approach the holidays with purpose and intention and really set that tone for how you will carry yourself through the rest of the year for every season and every holiday to come? And you can really prioritize your own values and set boundaries and create memories and ways of being that are really nourishing. So this talk is really an invitation to pause and slow down and reconnect and to explore for yourself what your true essence is, what needs to be let go of so that you can make space for what you genuinely desire. So before we get any further, I am Devon. Hello, hello. It's awesome to be here with you again. And I'm an integrative health expert, an Ayurvedic health advisor, and a holistic life coach. And my mission and passion in life is to guide people to learn how to live nature's wisdom and rhythms so that they can deepen into their journeys of healing and self-discovery and ultimately create a life that they really want to live with a foundation of unshakable resilience and vibrant health and joy. That said, let's move into the holidays and creating something that is intentional. This time of year, this late autumn into winter, is such a really magical time of year. I mean, every time of year is magical. Every second that we're on this wild, amazing planet is magical. And so this holiday time has become such a little paradox. Yeah. So its essence truly is a time of slowing down and going inward. And we've made it very external, very externally seeking, externally driven, where we are trying to fill ourselves from the outside in. We're getting caught up in the consumerism and the trying to make people happy and really doing way too much. And so there's an opportunity for us to reconnect with our true values and to not lose sight of what is actually natural for us at this time of year. And we can look to nature always. You know that that's my biggest teacher, and I invite all of us to look to nature to be our biggest teacher. So this time we can look around and see that there is this slowing down. There is this exhale and this kind of emptying. So autumn was this kind of exhaling, decelerating, shedding, and now there's this stillness and this beingness before it's time to act again. And our culture is so obsessed with going and doing that we we're uncomfortable being in that pause, that in between place, in between tasks, in between phases, in between seasons. And we don't like that stillness. We don't like to slow down. So we fill it up and we go, 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 go. And we're going to talk more about that in a few weeks when we explore the true essence of winter. But for now, just kind of looking around, the animals are not exerting themselves. They're slowing down, they're resting. The plants are not really blooming. They're slowing down. They've shed, they're bare and resting and restoring and replenishing for spring. And so we're invited to do the same at this time. And so as we kind of feel into that, the days are shorter, there's more nighttime. Imagine, for example, if we didn't have electricity, we'd all probably doing a lot more sleeping during this time. I find myself personally getting a lot sleepier, getting that kind of melatonin hit in the evenings earlier now than in the summertime. And it makes sense. The sun is setting at like 5 p.m. and there's more darkness. So we can think about that and then wonder how we created, these like artificially lit malls that are open really late for us to go shop at and spend all the money, and being at all of these different gatherings and parties and all of these things. And then also the rise in like sicknesses around this time. And then most of us feeling very depleted and burned out come January, and then wanting to blame it on things like, oh, winter blues and these other names that we've given things. And so this talk is not an invitation or, a suggestion to like not do the things. Don't gather with your family. Don't give gifts. Don't, whatever. It's not that. It's really an invitation to prioritize and to live in alignment with your values at this time. So looking to nature, right? This is the energy to conserve, to slow down, to turn inward, and to kind of just be. So autumn, I really like to think of as like autumn and spring. They're just kind of two sides of the same coin, are much more active. And then like summer and winter are kind of this still place before the acceleration or deceleration, respectively. So we've had our deceleration, and now we are invited to be still, to rest. Less, not more. So knowing that, feeling it, how do we move forward? What do we do from there? And this is where coming to know yourselves and your values come into play. And this is something that I'm very passionate about, and I teach in all of my programs and work with clients a lot, is this notion of values and purpose and boundaries. It all goes together. So taking some time to get really clear on what your values are and what truly matters to you. And from there, it's a lot easier to make decisions and to set boundaries and to navigate every situation, this and every season. It helps you to be very intentional. There is more clarity and peace and confidence and harmony because we're acting from a place of, like I said, intention, that foundation of intention, rather than kind of haphazard, on a whim, people pleasing, fear, all these other things. And then there's less tolerance or room for the overactivity or the restlessness that the mainstream holiday rush often creates, for example. So a way to kind of explore this is to, using the holiday season as an example, is to really reflect on, how do you want to feel during this season? What's that feeling tone? How do you want to feel? What is a way to conduct yourself now that your version of next week, your January self, your, whatever future self, however far into the future, is going to thank you for? What traditions or activities bring you the most joy and meaning? Which ones don't feel aligned with you anymore? Maybe they never did. Which ones could have space to perhaps be adapted or shifted? Traditions are only traditions because somebody did them once and then we keep doing them. that's not very intentional. That's kind of, robotic and automatic. So how can you maybe weave your values into existing traditions or use your values to make new traditions? Maybe there's an opportunity to change the way that gifts are given. You know, my brother and I, for example, we don't give each other gifts. We haven't in many, many years. And we've got a very strict policy that unless it's something that is um, being like kind of regifted or is handmade, homemade, like we don't do it. And I have that with a lot of my friends, and also giving donations to different places that I'm passionate about in my name, for example. So just kind of exploring, like, what is just being done on a very automatic, robotic kind of way? And then similarly, I think I just touched on this a little bit, but what's draining you or feeling misaligned? Are you saying yes to too many things? Do you tend to put too much on your plate at this time and put pressure on yourself to create the perfect holiday and go to all the parties and do all the things? Is there like that sense of FOMO? Just kind of reflecting on that. And then looking at this notion of cause and effect. So like when I've done that before, what do I get? And do I want more of that? And if the answer is no, then you can do something differently. Definitely can. And so from there, getting really, you've gotten really clear on what's working, what feels good, what you want. Then you can work with those boundaries. And we talked about that, what was it, 2 weeks ago? We did a wonderful Nature's Wisdom Circle on boundaries, identifying them and setting them, and how they're an act of self-love and self-respect and allow you to conserve your energy so that you can focus on what genuinely matters. And they're really in service to you and everyone around you. And again, go check out that episode. Just briefly, in a nutshell, it's important to, there's kind of this little 3-step process that we looked at, which was getting clear on your yes and your no. So no to what drains and yes to what nourishes. Communicate your boundaries with confidence, and remember that there's no need to justify or over-explain. And when in doubt, remember that no is a complete sentence. And then lastly, it was honoring your own energy levels. So really looking to nature again, looking to nature and giving yourself permission to honor the essence of winter time and to not jam-pack yourselves just because it's become the normal to do so in the quietest, darkest time of the year. It doesn't mean you have to partake. There will be plenty of time for doing all the things when it is more appropriate in the seasons to come, when there's more energy and life force energy available to support all of that more extroverting and doing and traveling and all of that. So when we turn away from overloading ourselves and from unnecessary external inputs and sensory stimulation, we really are able to hear ourselves. And that's something that I hear a lot from people when we start working together, is they're like, I can't hear myself. I don't know my inner voice anymore amidst the cacophony of just sensory assaults all the time and all of the 24/7 stuff that we have available to us. So when we turn away from those things and have our values as our North Star, we're more able to hear our own inner spark, that quiet inner voice that's always there to steer us in the right direction. And we can use that now during the holiday season and always, always, always. And something I like to also remind people when it comes to values and boundaries and really living from an intentional place that honors your nature and nature as a whole is an act of ahimsa. So ahimsa we can see in the Yoga Sutras and in many, many Eastern philosophies. It's this practice of treating ourselves and others with respect and reverence and without harm. So when we say no to what drains or overwhelms us, we're protecting ourselves. We are practicing self-care and non-harm towards ourselves, which then ultimately radiates out into the world. When I am frazzled, when I have overridden my own boundaries, I'm kind of an asshole to people around me. I can kind of get a little snippy. So not only have I harmed myself by overriding myself, I've then brought in this energy that I don't like and I don't condone into other people. I know I'm not the only one. We are all guilty of that at times. So throughout this holiday season, I really encourage you to have a little value check-in ritual with yourself. And let this be a time of true, intentional, purposeful being. Less is more. Letting it be what you really need from the inside out, rather than looking to these external inputs and these kind of outside in approach to doing the things. So staying close to your breath, tuning into your body sensations, and asking yourself if you're making choices that are in alignment with how you want to feel. And really feel the answer and let it come from that quiet inner voice, that inner spark. And it's often subtle and it's quiet, and we've gotten really good at overriding and ignoring it. So give yourself a few moments to really tune in and feel it and hear it. Because the mind's, whims and all the things, those are a little bit louder and they're a little bit more demanding. And that quiet inner voice is like much more confident, less fear driven, but sometimes a little quieter. And it's kind of like, we can observe, like with kids or just in other human interactions and behavior, the like bullies and the people that are kind of loud and boisterous are often the most insecure, right? And there's a lot of fear there. And those kind of quiet, calm, confident ones that are just kind of always there, always steady. Yeah, that's where more of that truth and that nourishment lives. So listening for that and really feeling into your body. There's an awesome practice that I teach where we can use the body as a pendulum. So you can kind of ask yourself, like, stand up and show me yes and show me no. And you might, sway a little forward or a little backward or do something unique to you. And you can use that as a way to ask questions. You can just tune into sensations, noticing areas of tightness and tingles, cool, warmth, etc. And so using that to guide your decision making. And then also, just to recap, tuning into cause and effect. Is what I am saying yes to today going to serve my tomorrow self? Is the way that I'm conducting myself this season going to serve me best come January? Because everything is always tied together. Always. Am I doing things to override my own boundaries? And then I'm going to be a jerk to myself and other people. Yeah, so get in that practice of tuning in, and then acting from there. Not acting haphazardly, not acting out of habit or out of a sense of obligation or your perceptions of what other people want you to do, which is like usually false anyway, because you're like making it up. Like think about that for a second. I perceive that this person wants me to do this, and like all the while they probably they're like not even thinking about you. They're like doing something else, and you've created this whole thing. Yeah. So whatever it is, all the different ways that we can put unnecessary pressure on ourselves, override ourselves, just stop. Stop. And come back to your breath and your body and your values as your foundation, as your North Star, and act from that place. move through the world from that place, grounded, present, and connected to what matters most to you. And that's how we can create not just a season, but a life that feels calm and meaningful and joyful, and where we have this sense of fulfillment from within. We're not seeking it externally and doing things like overcommitting and overspending and overeating. We know that all we need is within us. And when we're clear on what that is, we're moving through the world accordingly. And again, it's not us saying no, to all the things. It's about prioritizing the things and honoring the spirit of the season and our unique capacity and desires, which again, may be different than last year, could be different next year. So being present, finding deep peace and contentment by allowing yourself to be yourself, and really leaning into nature and what we're being shown and taught right now through winter. So I think this is where I will leave you. I had a few extra prompts, reflection prompts, just for you to kind of sit with. So what are my core values for the holiday season? And how can I honor those through my choices and boundaries? And what am I ready to release to create space for what nourishes me? And also, what am I calling in? So something that I really love, the example I gave is, are there old traditions that don't feel good anymore, that just need to go? Are there new ones that you want to make? Is there a way to blend some old and some new? For example, we don't eat in this house the ways that we were raised to, my partner and I. And so, we still eat cookies, and we still, I'm going to make some cookies. They're just not the ones that I was taught to make. I have kept the cookie making and definitely changed the ingredients and the ways that they're eaten, and the quantity and all of that. It's different and much more nourishing. So just thinking about little things like that truly make a huge difference. So that is where I will leave you today. Thank you for joining me today. I would love to continue this conversation inside of the Naturally Resilient and Thriving community. And maybe we can share what traditions we are recreating, letting go of, creating anew, and what our values are for this season and beyond, and how we are showing up for that, how we are living in alignment with that. Because truly, the more of us that actually are clear on what those are, so are doing the inner exploration to know ourselves, truly know ourselves, not ourselves as these personas that we've put on, these masks and these programs and these trauma responses and the people that we think we have to be, and blah, 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 blah. When we can actually get courageous enough to go inside and know ourselves, and then get clear about what I value, what I will and will not tolerate, what boundaries need to be put in place to uphold those values. That's the kind of world I want to live in. That's some clear, focused, intentional people who are, living in a way that nourishes them. They're going to be better to be around, happier, making better choices, etc., etc. So I honor you for doing this work and for letting this time be yours, because it's really inspiring and radiates out to everyone else. Okay. And of course, if you are ready to deepen into your journey of self-discovery and healing, I invite you to join the InnerSpark method, Everyday Rhythms, and learn how syncing with nature can help you live a life of resilience, balance, and joy. We definitely explore, among many things, values and boundaries. You can find more details at innerspark.life. Okay, I will see you next time. Thank you so much.